hadi pwani. Elo inasimama kwa sauti huru,
kwa uadilifu na haki, sisi tuko imara. Kenya mpya kwa matumaini ya dhati.
Kutoka kaskazini, kusini, mashariki na magharibi, tunajivunia Kenya, nchi ya matumaini. Kwa uadilifu na amani, sisi tunaimba kwa kusema elogo for credible, peaceful, free and fair elections.
Hi everyone, my name is Karen Omboi and we are at the People Dialogues Festival, the 4th edition, and this is Darubini Ya Uchaguzi podcast, and today I am your host Karen, and with me I have a guest and I'd like to let her introduce herself.
Hi guys, my name is Shakira Wafula. I'm the Vice Chair of KIKAO, a political movement for civic education and civic engagement that focuses on capacity building for leaders. I'm also an active citizen, most importantly, and I'm a mother and a fitness instructor, and also a student. Right? Titles mingi, yeah, but that's me.
Nice. I think it's always nice when we are juggling with so many things, but at the end we kind of acknowledge motherhood, because I kind of feel like motherhood is something that is very important. Without our moms, we wouldn't be here. And I kind of feel like on that sweet note, on the 8th of March, it's the International Women's Day.
Yeah.
And nataka kujua, what are your thoughts? How are you feeling about this 8th of March International Women's Day? Is it going to be itakuwa kawaida ama, like, what do you think about it?
Looking at Kenya specifically, we have been battling a crisis basically on femicide and gender-based violence targeted specifically to women and young girls. So it is a bittersweet moment right now to acknowledge the kind of atrocities that we women face every day, but also to experience the community of women coming together to celebrate each other and to also find ways to continue to advance these conversations and also try and push for reforms that, support a better environment for the existence of women. Because basically a lot of challenges we face is just because we exist. So what is the government going to do to support the girl child and the woman better? What is our society doing to ensure that women are safe while they run their day-to-day activities? Yeah.
That's really interesting that you actually had to put out what is the government doing in terms of supporting and protecting women in their day-to-day activities.
Yeah.
You said that you're an activist, so I wanted to know, last year I know we had the Gen Z Mandamano on Reject the Finance Bill, and I just wanted to know what was your experience with the government when you were doing the demonstrations for Reject the Finance Bill, first as a woman who's in the space and then as an activist?
For me, I don't like referring to myself as an activist because I'm not really an activist. I'm just an active citizen. I'm concerned about what is happening within governance, within the political space, but I do not it's not part of my livelihood. I engage when it's convenient with how I'm running my day-to-day life. Okay? So for me, last year's protests were actually the first time for me to ever go to the streets to protest. And the first day, Tuesday, I was not even arrested. I was attacked by plainclothes police officers, are like 5 men, and they carried me and they put me into a vehicle and took me to Central Police Station. We were there, over 200 people were at Central Police, and in the specific cell I was in, we were maybe 50 to 70 other women. We were just having conversations about the finance bill, about the current situation of our country, the young people especially, and what women are facing. And I think at that point, it cemented my participation with the Reject Finance Bill, because I was able to hear about experiences from different women and what brought them out to the streets, and then considering the kind of force and brutality that we had faced from the police. Because I am a woman, I am a young girl. What business do 4-5 men, police officers, dressed in plain clothes, have lifting me literally from off the streets and dumping me into a vehicle? That was not right. And that is not the only instance that I've had with the police. Again, the next protest on Thursday, where I had this altercation with the police, and I feel like if there weren't so many people recording that moment, I don't think I would have escaped as easily as I did at that time. And having that video go viral, and then the following protest, the June 25th, interacting with a lot of young girls and women on the street saying, like, we saw you on that video, and that is what encouraged us to come out. So it's like encouraging to see my participation as a woman encourages more women to participate, but still we are suffering unfair brutality and force from the police, because an instance after that, we were going to present a list of, there's a time the president said that he didn't know that there are people who have disappeared and since the election. So we went to present a list to his office, and again, police came and attacked us, and literally we were fighting physically with policemen. Like, honestly, it is uncalled for a man to face and stand up against a woman physically. So the fact that we have policemen in the force who believe that they can do this, and they are facing no charges, because up to now, since June 25th, we haven't seen any policeman who has been brought to question or who has been charged for their participation in the force and the brutality that the protesters experienced last year. We have an inquest that is happening, but against the alleged killer of Rex Masai, but that one is taking so long, and even the family does not feel like they are getting any form of justice. So I feel like it's, again, bittersweet. Women were there, and a lot of us women were there in the front lines, because we know the importance of us participating in this. But then the risks that we face by being in the front lines is not something that is tackled or responded to with due diligence.
Nice, interesting. I think Kenye Menibamba ni vile I said as a mother and then as an activist, and then you're like, no, not an activist, like an active citizen. I don't think I've had so many people talk about that, especially I think kama kuna kitu nasemanga, being in this CSO space, civic society like space.
Yeah.
So many people feel like this is the civic space. It's not, I'm not supposed to be concerned with it, So I'd like to digress this conversation and start from a point of, have you ever voted?
Yes, I've participated in all, 2 elections right now, since I got my ID and I registered to vote. That's 2 elections. And I intend to participate for as many opportunities to be an active citizen as I can, because it is my responsibility as a citizen to make sure that I contribute towards the democracy of this country. Unfortunately, as it is, the political class and the governance and the democratic space of our country is not really democratic. But for me, I'd rather participate and say I made an effort, rather than sit back and say that, because a lot of people say that there's no point, like what's the use of participating? And we saw even in the last election, almost 40% of the people who had registered to vote did not turn up to vote. So my question is, if the 40% had showed up and actually put their input, maybe we would be in a different situation as a country right now. But for me, as a citizen of Kenya, as somebody who is strongly live and die in Africa, I have no intentions of relocating to another country. I was born in this country. I deserve to live and thrive in this country. And that is why it is important for me to do what I can within my means.
Yeah. So I love the way when we were talking about it, you were saying how you have consistently, since you got the voter card, been voting. Because I think tukiongea, not so many people talk about the importance of voting. Now, there's also something that you say that whether or not I'm going to make a change, I believe that my vote should be casted.
Yeah.
So I feel like when you're having discussions, because I am a young person, we don't talk about the need to still vote, even if we feel like it's rigged. And I think one of the biggest discussions we should be having with people is do you think that the elections have an impact on the political parties that we currently have and on the political class that we do? Juu naonanga saa zingine watu wana feeling ni kama watu wameshachaguliwa because we have the political parties.
Yeah.
But really, if you look at it, the only way to catch people in mistakes or discrepancies is to look at the election system. So the only way we can do that is if people actually show up for the voting period. So I've just wanted perhaps to know, is this like a conversation that you have precisely when you're with people out there on like enyewe manze, like vote, it's very, very important. And is this something that people ask, or rather, what do people move from elections, like the importance of election, and preferably go to the political party and the elites because it's an easy conversation to hold rather than the voting and the responsibility that we have as citizens?
I think for lack of a better word to use, we are generally lazy. We don't want to do things out of our way, right? And let's take a look at last year, the beginning, when the conversation against the finance bill started happening. What did the political class do? They were talking, saying, you guys are just but digital wankers. You guys are talking online, but you can't do anything on the ground. Where did they get the confidence to assume that we youth have no impact? It's because we did not participate in the previous election. They know this certain number of young people should have showed up to vote, but they didn't show up to vote, despite IEBC doing what it could with voter education and voter registration, and even the campaigns that were going on. So they got that level of madarao towards the young people, because they've seen already how apathetic the young people have been. And for me and within my social circle, that is a conversation I keep having. Even now, we do not have an IEBC commission, but I still talk to the people around me about elections. We do not have an IEBC, but what are we doing about it? Are we vocal enough about it? Are we pushing the government to make sure that the commission is put to place, and so that it can start working? It does. Putting our voice out there and casting our votes, it's important, and having these conversations within our circles are important. And the reason why Kenya is the way it is because we allowed ourselves to sit back and say, even though inakuanga, and that's the problem. Even though inakuanga, we are the ones who have allowed it to happen. What can we do actively right now to make sure that the situation is changing? Kwa sababu if we say even though inakuanga, until when? Will come the next election, another corrupt leader is going to be put in place. There's going to be extrajudicial killings. There's going to be more corruption and more resources stolen from us. And then our work will just be complaining, but we are not actively doing anything about it. So it is important for everybody to participate within. And that's why I'm saying I'm an active citizen. I do not wake up in the morning saying, this is how I'm going to deal with the government. This is how I'm going to deal with politicians. I wake up in the morning as a mother. I wake up, I go to work, and then I go to school. That is my main activity. But while I do these activities, I find a way to make sure my presence as a Kenyan citizen is felt. And that I feel this is what a lot of women and a lot of young people in our country are lucky. Mesema tumesari, it's none of our business. Tumeachia akina Hanifa, akina Shakira, tumeachia akina Boni. That's not how it's supposed to be. It should be everybody's responsibility. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I feel like one of my biggest key takeaway from this conversation is you are an active citizen, so this should be your active responsibility. And I'm very glad that I had a chance to talk to you because I'm not just working in this space as someone who's working with the election observation mission, but as someone who's also a voter. Truth be told, that I missed to vote last year because I had the same thinking. Yeah. So being exposed to such conversations over and over gives me a different point of view.
Yeah.
Welcome so much. Thank you so much for being with us here, and I hope we get to hear more from you.
Thank you. Thank you so
Kutoka milimani, bungani hadi pwani, Elo inasimama kwa sauti huru.
Kwa uadilifu na haki, sisi tuko imara. Kenya mpya kwa matumaini ya dhati.
Kutoka kaskazini, kusini, mashariki na magharibi, tunajivunia Kenya, nchi ya matumaini. Kwa uadilifu na amani, sisi tunaimba kwa kusema a logo for credible, peaceful, free and fair elections.
Tunatoka kwa jamii, vikundi vya kidini na mashinani, sauti za wanyonge na sauti za wenye nguvu.
Hakuna aliyeachwa, sote ni sawa. Elo ni mwangaza wa mabadiliko ya haki. Kutoka kaskazini, kusini, mashariki na magharibi, tunajivunia Kenya, nchi ya matumaini. Kwa uadilifu na amani, sisi tunaimba kwa kusema a logo for credible, peaceful, free and fair elections. Kwa vijana na wazee, tuko na ndoto,
Kenya iliyo bora kwa bidii na mwanga.
katika Afrika Mashariki tumesimama thabiti kwa amani na haki, sisi ni wamoja.
Kura si nambari, bali ni sauti kwa mabadiliko ya kweli na utu.
Elo ni mlinzi wa haki na usawa, tunajenga mustakabali kwa ari na nguvu. Kutoka kaskazini, kusini, mashariki na magharibi, tunajivunia Kenya, nchi ya matumaini. Kwa uadilifu na amani, sisi tunaimba kwa kusema a logo for credible, peaceful, free and fair elections.
Kwa vijana na wazee, tuko na ndoto,
Kenya iliyo bora kwa bidii na mwanga.
katika Afrika Mashariki tumesimama thabiti kwa amani na haki,
Sisi ni wamoja,
basi nambari,
bali ni sauti
kwa mabadiliko ya kweli na utu.
Elo ni mlinzi wa haki na usawa, tunajenga mustakabali kwa ari na nguvu. Kutoka kaskazini, kusini, mashariki na magharibi, tunajivunia Kenya, nchi ya matumaini. Kwa uadilifu na amani, sisi tunaimba kwa kusema a logo for credible, peaceful, free and fair elections.